Chief Minister Jagdish Shettar has said that he's upset and hurt after the party asked him to make way for others and indicated that he will not be given a ticket. Shettar has asked the BJP to reconsider the decision and said that he will contest at any cost. So what exactly has led to this delay? Like I said, it was first supposed to be out last Saturday and then it got pushed to Sunday and eventually today, Tuesday night at 9 p.m, we're expecting the first list of candidates to be released. We're learning that there is some pushback from at least 4 to 5 MLAs to move out of safe seats. Senior Minister V. Somana, for example, is reluctant to contest against Siddaramaiah in the Varuna seat. That is his pocket borough. That's where he's contested and won from for a number of elections now. There is a negative report on the incumbent MLAs in at least 40 constituencies. The High Command is pushing for a change in all of these 40 constituencies. The former Chief Minister and Karnataka strongman B.S. Eashwarappa is pushing for more candidates of his choice in the first list. He's also firm on the demand for certain seats and he is unlikely to blink at least 30 seats where he seems to have a different opinion from the rest of the list. And adding to the BJP's headache, many sitting ministers are also seeking tickets for their family members. The party also has to accommodate those rebel MLAs who joined, 17 of them from the JDS and the Congress, many of whom are hoping now to get the BJP ticket. All right, so we're getting some breaking news even before that press conference starts. 30 to 40% of the candidates in the list will be new faces. Now, remember, this is an old formula under Modi and Shah. 30% of sitting candidates are changed. They've done that in Gujarat over a number of years, and now this is being expanded to other states as well. Final touches are being given at BJP President Nadda's home. Mr. Shah was there moments ago. He has just left just a couple of minutes before the show began. It's clear that the BJP is wanting to use that tried and tested formula of replacing at least a third of the incumbent or sitting MLAs. Whether or not that will work in Karnataka, we'll have to wait and see. But Maria Shakil, our political editor, joining us with more details on this. We'll also be going across to my colleague Harish, who will be joining us live from Bengaluru. DP Satish will be joining us live from Bengaluru as well. And then we'll open this up to our panelists. But Maria, first, what is the thinking? What is the thinking in the BJP? Because clearly there are headwinds. There are incumbent MLAs who are facing anti-incumbency. The government itself is facing anti-incumbency. What is the thinking as to how to buck that?
Yes, so the sense is, Zaka, that it's a tried and tested formula, as you said rightly, and it worked in Gujarat, it has worked in multiple states. So the BJP feels that if there is anti-incumbency, it is anti-incumbency against the local MLA, could be against the Chief Minister also, because remember, they haven't really said it emphatically enough that in these elections and post the results, if the BJP were to win, then it will be Mr. Basavaraj Bommai who will be returning to power. So the BJP is fairly confident that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi starts his rallies, which at the moment is anywhere above 20 rallies, which will be somewhere starting in the last week of April onwards, then things could change in the favor of the BJP. At the moment, what we can fairly say is 30 to 40% new faces are going to be there in this new list, which will be released by BJP Karnataka in charge Dharmendra Pradhan, who has just entered the party headquarters and is making his way to the press conference room where the announcement will be made. As far as the infighting is concerned, the BJP leadership is of the opinion that all that will be sorted out the moment the list comes out. And if you look at Tejasvi Surya, who is the face of the BJYM and also the youth face of the BJP in Karnataka, he has also said and put out an interesting tweet in which he said that the party leadership has put faith in the younger faces, in the newer faces. So I think that's a strong enough indication. The BJP is hopeful that this first list, which may not be the complete list, will give a sense of how they are very serious about countering, offsetting anti-incumbency, which is, again, as they say, is only against the local MLA.
Okay, so let me also go across to DP Satish as well as Harish Upadhyay, who are both joining us. DP Satish, why has this list been so delayed? It was supposed to come out on Saturday, then it got delayed to Monday, and finally it's coming out Tuesday at 9 p.m. And this, we believe, is not the final list. And I also want to specifically talk to you about the role of Eashwarappa and the say that Eashwarappa will have. Apparently, there are about 30 to 35 candidates who he is very insistent, his people, his candidates, who should be given tickets. How is the party going to deal with this?
Zaka, BJP High Command seem to have taken a massive gamble because I am told they are going to deny ticket to at least 30 to 40 sitting MLAs, maybe more. That hasn't happened in the past because earlier in Karnataka, Eashwarappa was BJP, BJP was Eashwarappa. till 2018 elections. Now BJP High Command in Delhi is micromanaging the elections and they want to field new candidates because the current government in Karnataka is facing a massive anti-incumbency and they have conducted several surveys and BJP High Command is convinced that the current government is unpopular. That's why they want to change many MLAs and they want to give chance to new faces. But if they deny ticket to seniors like Eashwarappa, Jagdish Shettar, K.S. Eashwarappa, V. Somanna, Lakshman Saudi and all, and if they field their own children, it won't make much difference. If the party fields party workers, party karyakartas in the next election, it might even revive the BJP. It might even help the BJP. You never know, because BJP knows how to micromanage elections and they are looking at it. But Eashwarappa still continues to be the tallest leader of the party in the state because Lingayats are the backbone of the BJP and Eashwarappa commands the support of majority Lingayats in the state, across the state. And Eashwarappa was demanding ticket for 30 to 40 of his men, and I am told BJP High Command is not ready to give or accommodate all these names and Eashwarappa is not really happy with it. But let's wait for the list and after that we may be able to comment.
All right. I also want to go across to Harish, and one of the points that Satish made, Harish, is about the Lingayats. They've been the backbone of the BJP's support for a number of decades now, and Eashwarappa played a big role in cultivating that vote bank. This current election cycle, Lingayats, for a variety of reasons, reservation reasons, other reasons, have not been exactly chummy with the BJP. How may the BJP want to play that? I believe in the 2018 elections that happened, there were, I think, 55 to 60 candidates who were given, Lingayats who were given the ticket. This time, do we have a sense of how the party wants to, address concerns of that constituency, of that vote bank?
Well, what we do know is that there is a thinking within the party to increase the number of seats given to Panchamasali Lingayats. Remember, they are the biggest sect of Lingayats in the state and they've been miffed with the party for a long time. Despite the party or the government increasing the reservation by 2%, many within the section are unhappy, saying that's not the demand. This is much lesser to what we had asked for. And that seems to have played on BJP's mind in increasing the allocation for this particular sect of Lingayats. The other aspect that we'll have to discuss here is, yesterday when there was a lot of brainstorming happening in Delhi, we do understand there was a suggestion made to the state leadership saying that we can have new faces in 40 constituencies. The counter argument from the state leadership was that in several of these constituencies, there is no second-rung leadership over there. Some of these MLAs have been 5-time, 6-time MLAs and they've ensured there's no second-rung leadership over there. And the only option is going to the family members. That's not something that the central BJP was very keen on. And that's why we've had multiple rounds of meetings that have happened. And some of these leaders, remember, also have immense connect with the local muds. For example, Mr. Somanna, he has good connections with several muds, cutting across religion, cutting across caste, not just Lingayat muds. So within the party state leadership here, many believe that this would also disconnect the party from that kind of a clout that these MLAs enjoy. And that's why there has been so much of lobbying that's happened since yesterday. We are talking about Belagavi, the other sticking point. Remember, the BJP will have to choose between going with Ramesh Jarkioli, the turncoat MLA who helped the BJP form government in 2019, or going with their former Deputy Chief Minister, party loyalist Lakshman Saudi. That has been a hard bargain is what we understand. Also, the central leadership clearly wants a very tough challenge posed for Mr. Siddaramaiah, a stiff challenge, a strong candidate against Siddaramaiah. But unfortunately, state leadership is unable to offer any of it. People who the state leadership and the central leadership is approached, none of them are willing. Vijayendra was clearly ruled out by B.S. Yediyurappa. V. Somanna not very keen to contest against Siddaramaiah in Varuna. He's asking for a backup seat. So that has been another bone of contention. Right. Has to be seen if the BJP can find a good, credible, strong candidate against Siddaramaiah in Varuna.
Okay, we'll see how the party manages to sort of address all of these conflicting concerns. For the moment, we'll come back to both Harish and Satish in just a moment as and when this candidate list is put out officially by the BJP. We're expecting Dharmendra Pradhan, the Karnataka state in charge, to address the press. There you go. We have the live footage of him coming through. He will be beginning that press conference in just a moment. Good time to introduce our guests here in the studios as well. Shehzad Poonawala, BJP national spokesperson, is joining us. Aishwarya Mahadev of the Congress is joining us. Smita Prakash is editor of ANI. And B.S. Arun, senior journalist, also joining us. All right, I believe the press conference has just started, so we're going to go across to that. in just a moment. In fact, we can go when Dharmendra Pradhan starts speaking. So let's have opening comments from Shehzad and the others here. Shehzad, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one for the BJP because, like I said, there is not just local level anti-incumbency against many of your sitting MLAs. Many of them are 4, 5, 6-time sitting MLAs, so you would expect that to add up. But more importantly, there is anti-incumbency against the state government as well. So this is going to be a difficult balancing act for the High Command and for your party leadership, because you have to take care of this as well as, of course, to address Mr. Eashwarappa and his concerns.
Zaka, very quickly before the press conference starts, if you've seen the overwhelming trend after 2019 in state elections, and if you take the last 8 to 10 state elections, there has been a trend of pro-incumbency in the favor of the BJP, which means that the Prime Minister's charisma and his work and his dedication for the country to take this country to greater heights, coupled with our state governments who perform and deliver on social welfare, Samajik Nyaya and Labharthis, that double engine powers our pro-incumbency, and therefore we've been able to.
Okay, I believe the press conference has just started. Let's go.
राष्ट्रीय महामंत्री तथा कर्नाटक के संगठन के लंबे समय से काम करने वाले हमारे आदरणीय प्रभारी अरुण सिंह जी औपचारिक रूप में कर्नाटक की आने वाले विधानसभा, जिसकी नॉमिनेशन 13 तारीख से शुरू होकर 20 तारीख तक चलेगा और 10 मई को चुनाव होगा। आप लोगों की मन में भी उत्कंठा थी। इस बार पार्टी ने, भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी होने के नाते विधानसभा स्तर की ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लीडरशिप, पार्टी की रेस्पॉन्सिबल कार्यकर्ताओं की कंसल्टेशन की प्रक्रिया पूरा किया। इसी महीने, पिछले महीने की 31 को, फिर फर्स्ट और सेकेंड कर्नाटक की सारे 31 जिले में इस प्रक्रिया को पूरा किया गया। 25,000 से ज्यादा ग्रासरूट पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट, संगठन के कार्यकर्ता उस कंसल्टेशन में पार्टिसिपेट किए। फिर 1 और 2 तारीख में कर्नाटक की डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल की लीडरशिप से स्टेट की लीडरशिप, हमारे नेता आदरणीय येदियुरप्पा जी, प्रदेश के लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री बोम्मई जी, प्रदेश के अध्यक्ष नलिन कटील जी तथा तमाम वरिष्ठ नेता जिला की लीडरशिप से चर्चा किया। फिर 4-5-2 दिन स्टेट इलेक्शन कमेटी बेंगलुरु में बैठी। उन्होंने पैनल बनाया, विधानसभा स्तर की रिकमेंडेशन, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल की रिकमेंडेशन, उसको लेके डिटेल पॉलिटिकल एनालिसिस करते हुए हमने फिर स्टेट इलेक्शन कमेटी को के अंदर हम लोग मिले। फ्रेंड्स, आज बीजेपी जो डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी, we have run through a consultation process starting from assembly level to state level, involving more than 25,000 grassroots worker, activist, political responsible representative. We have completed our consultation process. Karnataka State Election Committee recommended a panel of names to Central Election Committee. Central Election Committee, in the august presence of our Honorable Leader, Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, National President Sri Jagat Prakash Nadda ji preside over the meeting. All the important leaders, Honorable Rajnath Singh ji, Honorable Amit Shah ji, National Organizing Secretary B.L. Santosh ji, and all the senior leaders participated in the election committee, Central Election Committee. with detailed deliberation. Today, with the recommendation of Central Election Committee, now we are going to announce (189) candidates for forthcoming Assembly election of Karnataka. Before formally announcing the candidates, if I say in one sentence what is the basic feature of this consultancy process and what is the outcome. मित्रों, एक राजनीतिक और प्रजातांत्रिक पार्टी के नाते, डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी के नाते इस प्रक्रिया को पूरा करने के बाद 21वीं सदी में
9 candidates' names will be revealed today. So 35 or so are still not going to be released today. I think there is still some back and forth that the party is doing on about 35 odd names. But 189 names is what we will get today at the end of that press conference. Shehzad Poonawalla here in our studios, Aishwarya Mahadev of the Congress, Smita Prakash and B.S. Arun with us. So Shehzad, in terms of the big takeaway I think that's coming through is some of the veteran leaders, Jagdish Shettar, Eashwarappa, Arvind Limbavali's name is also doing the rounds, have all been asked not to contest, or they've been basically retired. Or in your parlance, they've been asked to move to the Margdarshak Mandal.
Speculation is most dangerous when it seems easiest. I'll let the party announce it. And anyways, we are an institutional party. We are not a parivarik party that I would be privy to this. There's an institution in our party. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan has just described how the institution collects the feedback from every level, and therefore it takes a certain amount of time. If it was a one parivar party or a two parivar party, maybe the tickets, even then in Hassan we are seeing what is happening. But anyway, let me not get sidetracked. The idea is that we have seen in the last 10 elections pro-incumbency because of the double engine sarkar of the center and the state. That is what we are seeing in Karnataka. Highest FDI received by our government in Karnataka. 45% of the entire FDI of the country has come to Karnataka. The fact is that 53 lakh farmers have benefited from the Kisan Samman Nidhi. The fact is that 40 lakh plus people have got toilets. You've got 32 lakh gas cylinder connections being given. You've had a trajectory of growth, whereas 6.2% growth during their tenure, it's 9.5%. Agriculture has grown. And all of these stories are now being reflected in our pro-incumbency story. On one hand, we have a double engine, and on the other hand, Aishwarya's party has double trouble. They don't, even before the power spoils have come to them, which it won't, they have started fighting over the seat. And look at their candidates. One of them is a person who's been accused number one in murder. Another one is somebody who had a role in defeating Mr. Khadge. So you have double engine versus double trouble. And therefore, Aishwarya seems very keen on grabbing media narratives. But on the ground, it's nothing.
Double engine versus double trouble is what Shehzad is saying. Aishwarya Mahadev, 189 candidates will be released today. The names will be released. That's as much. In fact, I think it's a little more than what the Congress has already released. Yeah.
Good evening, Zaka. I think even with all the facts that Shehzad rattled off, very good, impressive reading, of course, but none of that is going to save them on the ground, because whether you like it or not, Prime Minister Modi cannot save them, one. And second, it has not been double engine sarkar whatsoever, whether it's the fact that 865 villages of Karnataka being claimed by the BJP coalition in Maharashtra, whether it's the fact that GST dues are still pending. You saw your own Chief Minister Yediyurappa cry for flood relief. You're seeing the scam and the sham that is the reservation policy that they've implemented. And the fact that now you're allowing one of our largest indigenous cooperatives to be subsumed and destroyed, you realize that there's no double engine sarkar whatsoever. And double trouble, you're talking about double trouble in my party. Shehzad Jagdish Shettar is a former CM who has openly rebelled about saying, I'm a 6-time undefeated MLA and you want to take me out. Eashwarappa was asking for a ticket. You threw him out of a ministry. You talk about justice for OBCs. You know exactly what you've done to him. You're also talking about Murugesh Nirani and Bommai fighting. You're talking about Yediyurappa, whose only name was mentioned by Prime Minister Modi. But C.T. Ravi tells, everybody that Yediyurappa's son's ticket is not going to be declared or decided in the kitchens of people after Mr. Amit Shah had breakfast in Mr. Yediyurappa's house. And you're talking about dynasts. You need to realize Arun Somana, Eashwarappa, Yediyurappa, including a lot of your ministers, are looking for tickets for their own children. So There's no way you can talk about dynasty. Zaka, nothing can save them. They're not a double engine sarkar. They're a double doka sarkar to Karnataka, double
Okay.
droha sarkar to
So
Karnataka.
let me ask Smita. Let me ask Smita
May I
Prakash
just
this.
come in one
One
very
second.
quickly?
Let me bring in Smita Prakash as well as B.S. Arun, who both have been waiting patiently. Smita, you're from that state. You know what works and doesn't work in that state. What is it that the BJP is getting right in Karnataka, and what is it that it's getting wrong? Because I was speaking to our reporters also earlier. It's not just about local level anti-incumbency against the MLAs. The state government is also not all that popular. And you have all of these social cleavages. You have the Lingayat problem. You have the BJP trying to reach out to the Vokkaligas without much help there. You've seen the floods in North Karnataka last year. And now you have this whole cooperative business between Nandini versus Amul. And incidentally, we'll be speaking to the Amul CMD a little later on in the program. But Smita Prakash, yeah.
Yeah, I think, Zaka, the BJP is fighting with its back to the wall, as is quite evident from what your reporters said. And with the ticket distribution, I think the BJP wants to do something radical, maybe like you said, a Gujarat-like experiment, but in a gentler manner, because in Karnataka, you have to tread gently due to the caste factor. Also in Gujarat, the BJP was in power for a long time, and for decades, actually, they managed to break the back of the opposition in those decades. So being adventurous with ticket distribution came easy. But here it's fraught with danger, political danger, because in a state like Karnataka, where the opposition, which is the Congress, is in a very strong position. They might be bickering between DK and Sidramaiah, but it's nothing compared to what's happening in the BJP benches. So the opposition bench strength is much stronger, and the state leadership in the BJP is on a very weak wicket. So when the fortunes are largely pitched on one individual, one single person, who's not even the chief minister, which is Yediyurappa, and is way past his prime, as per your own rules, he's past his prime, but he wields political clout among his caste brethren.
Okay.
So if Amit Shah and Modi and Nadda plan a bold move, it will probably not be a bloodless coup. So we already know that Eashwarappa has staged a walkout, and as Aishwarya pointed out, there are a myriad problems in the BJP. So Yediyurappa announcing his son as a candidate even before the list was out is not something which is in keeping with the BJP style. He's goaded the leadership. He did that even before the BJP was doing its meetings. So by some reports, it means that the BJP wants to axe some sitting MLAs, some 20, 30, 35 is what we are hearing. But will that be because of the winnability factor? I wonder. Because any move to axe such people who wield clout in some way or the other because they are sitting MLAs would mean that they will switch over to the JDS or they switch over to the Congress. There's really no ideology loyalty when it comes to sitting MLAs. They'll switch easily. And if they switch or if they go even independent, what's going to happen is what we saw in the earlier election, some kind of a khichdi, again another party comes in, kingmakers will come to play, those kind of things. But the Congress right now seems much stronger and they have their narrative going.
B.S. Arun, there is also, it's not like either in the Congress or in the JDS, it's all hunky-dory. The Congress, there is this legendary sort of rivalry that's going on between DK Shivkumar and Sidramaiah. Of course, they have the momentum of anti-incumbency in their favor, but that doesn't mean that everything is hunky-dory. The Congress has still not released its full list. It's only about 160-odd seats that have been declared. So there is that problem of the leadership tussle, and we're already seeing that play out in different states. Sachin Pilot today sitting on a fast against his own government. That's been a perennial issue in Rajasthan. We've seen that how that's played out in Chhattisgarh. Somehow the Congress is not able to make up its mind on the leadership question, and that will play itself out in Karnataka as well if the Congress is in a position to form the government. And look at what's happening in the JDS. On one seat, the seat of Hassan, even the family doesn't seem to be able to agree.
Yeah.
As far as Janata Dal is concerned, it's a huge setback for the party because within the family, there are two factions and the two brothers are fighting each other for the ticket of one of the, wife of one of the brothers. So because of that, the Janata Dal has not been able to release its, second list. They were the first to release a list way back some more than 1.5 months ago, some 90 plus candidates. But after that, the party has not been able to release any list, and day in and day out, we are seeing the family drama playing out in the open on the streets,
Okay.
and one giving the statement against the other. When this is the situation in Janata Dal, in Congress it's a bit different. They also came out with a first list, but then one statement by DK Shivkumar and another by Siddaramaiah, things are not making very easy for the Congress as far as the next chief minister is concerned, should the party come to power. So when this is the situation, the party is eagerly waiting for the second list to be announced, but somehow they seem to be going the BJP way, because BJP delayed its the very first list. Congress is delaying its second list, and everybody is looking at that. And
Okay.
In the first list itself, there have been in second list there have been quite a number of people dissatisfied with the party list. Heartburn was there. Many people announced that they will quit the party and contest from other parties like Janata Dal. And in a couple of cases, we have already seen.
Sorry, Arun, I'm interrupting, but we're getting some more details of the BJP first list. There are 52 new faces in this list of 189. Some of the big names, 32 OBC names as well in this BJP list of 189. We'll check to see how many Lingayats have been mentioned there. But 52 new faces, some of the big drops. Of course, B.S. Yediyurappa will not be contesting. He had mentioned that earlier. Jagdish Shettar has not been given a ticket. Mr. Eashwarappa said earlier today that he has written to the chief asking to be relieved from electoral politics. So he's not contesting as well. Arvind Limbavali has also not been given a ticket. So I think the message is clear, Shehzad Poonawalla, that some of the seniors, some of the party veterans are being asked to take a back seat, and 52 new faces have been included in the list of 189.
Even static water becomes dangerous after some time, and therefore dynamism is required, whether in politics or whether in part of life, and therefore people come and people go, and the BJP is an institution. It is not a family-run party where only one family has a privilege. Now, having said that, let me come to a couple of points. There's double speak on the part of my good friend Aishwarya. If they are so confident of winning, here is a statement of MB Patil, and I hope she knows who MB Patil is. We expect SDPI should support the Congress to defeat the BJP. They need to go on the clutches of a party like SDPI. They want to play the religious reservation card. And Ms. Aishwarya just now said that she was against our policy where we have given the 2% to Vocaligas and 2% to Lingayats after cancelling a religious reservation which is unconstitutional. So is the Congress saying on record that it is against the idea of extending reservations, further more reservations to Vocaligas and to Lingayats? This is the hatred they've had for the Lingayat Samaj and for the other Samaj time and again. And OBC Samaj, you talking about OBC, the first OBC Prime Minister of this country who continued and finished his tenure and got a second tenure in this country was Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What you have said about OBC Prime Minister has been recorded by the courts, and therefore you are even scared of taking Rahul Gandhi to Kolar. And the Congress party has actually told Rahul, don't come to Kolar. That's what I have been told. Aishwarya can confirm that. And apart from the double trouble, they also have Mr. Parmeshwar, who's wanting to become the Chief Minister. So, dekho, INC means I need chair. Whether it is Rajasthan, I need chair. Whether it is Chhattisgarh, I need chair, or whether it is Karnataka, I need chair. It is not I need commitment.
I should respond to that. It's not just the infighting between between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar. He's also pointed out a litany of other problems in the Congress party, all of which you have to contend with, all of which you have to deal with if you hope to come to power in Karnataka.
Zaka, the very singular fact is that the Congress has already made it very, very clear. Everybody is allowed to have their aspirations, but it is collective leadership. And second, when he talks about this reservation policy, it is wonderful rhetoric to say, oh, are we cheating? 1 second. You give 2% to the Vocaligas and the Lingayats who are asking for 15 and 13% respectively. 1. Second, the parliament itself, the Modi government in the center, your double engine Sarkar itself, on 14th March 2023 said what? They said, we have no absolute intention of increasing the ceiling, either via constitutional amendment or adding the Karnataka proposal to the 9th schedule, which, mind you, hadn't even reached there. And you told me something about an INC. Let me tell you what BJP is. It is Brashta Janata Party. And because today what has happened in Karnataka is this. When you talk about the scams, there was PSI scam, there was contractors associations, teachers, eggs for school children, for midday meals, mind you. You saw Goshalas having scams. And your litany of leaders, let me give out a list and you can all look at what all they've done. Let's not even start with Sarki Holi. There is Hartal Halappa, there is Ram Das, there's Madal Virupakshappa, there is also Arvind Limbavali and Eashwarappa. You have a star-studded cast of corruption, and you come here preaching high and mighty about double engine and development. You have only developed the coffers of your own, and that is the
all right. I got to wrap up. It's a curtailed debate on Karnataka because the list also came out today. But we'll see. I think it's game on now. We've got the first list both from the Congress and the BJP. It's game on there in Karnataka. And as they say, may the best man or woman win. We'll see, and we'll be very closely keeping tabs on this Karnataka election because it has ramifications not just for that state, but in the road for 2024 as well. Talking about the road to 2024, it's playing itself out in another state, and quite acrimoniously, the tussle between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot today went into high gear. Pilot sat on a one-day dharna against his own government, the government of the Congress party under Ashok Gehlot, despite the fact that the High Command issued a rather terse statement late last night saying he will incur disciplinary action if he were to go ahead. And yet, he did.
राजस्थान की पिछली सरकार जो वसुंधरा जी की सरकार थी, उस सरकार में तमाम जो भ्रष्टाचार हुआ, करप्शन हुआ, उसके विरोध में आज एक दिन का मैंने अनशन रखा था।
Congress MLA and former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot sat on a day-long hunger strike in Jaipur. The target of his protest was rival and Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. Pilot accused him of not acting on corruption cases during the previous BJP regime of Vasundhara Raje.
हम लोग कांग्रेस में विपक्ष में थे, तो हम सब लोगों ने बहुत सारे स्कैंडल्स और करप्शन के मामलों को उजागर किया था, प्रमाण के सहित। करप्शन के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। एक साल से ज्यादा पहले मैंने प्रदेश की सरकार और आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को लिखित में कहा था।
Pilot went ahead with his dharna despite a clear warning from the Congress that the move will be seen as anti-party activity.
जो भी बात है वो घर में होनी चाहिए ना, घर से बाहर नहीं होनी चाहिए। अब आप मुझसे पूछ रहे हो तो वो भी मैं वही गलती करूं जो कोई और कर रहा है, मैं भी आपसे बात करूं, वो बात नहीं करनी चाहिए। अगर मेरे मन में कोई बात होगी तो मैं मुख्यमंत्री जी से अवश्य मिलूंगा, कहूंगा।
The absence of any Congress logo or branding at the protest site further drove speculation that Pilot is on his way out of the party.
The senior leaders, including that of General Secretary of the Congress Party, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, she reached out to Sachin Pilot when asked to him. Sachin Pilot, he refused to comment on the same, whether anyone has gotten in touch with him or not. But yes, he also said that some kind of action was said this morning by the in charge of the Congress Party for the state of Rajasthan.
Soon after Pilot sat on his dharna, Gehlot released a video listing his government's welfare policies.
मेरे प्यारे प्रदेशवासियों, मैंने तय किया है कि साल 2030 तक मुझे राजस्थान को देश का नंबर 1 राज्य बनाना है। राहत बजट वाले बजट में मैंने ऐसी योजना बनाई है जो किसी दूसरे राज्य में नहीं है।
The move by Pilot to open a new front against Gehlot is seen as an attempt to pressure Congress's high command to resolve the leadership issue ahead of assembly elections in Rajasthan later this year.
राजस्थान ने कांग्रेस को अवसर दिया सेवा करने का, लेकिन 4 साल से लगातार सत्ता की लड़ाई ही चल रही है। और जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये कांग्रेस की रीति रही है, divide and rule.
This is not the first time that Pilot has gone against the Gehlot government. In 2020, he and 18 other rebel MLAs defied a whip and did not attend Congress's legislature party meeting. While some in the Congress have advised against taking any action against Pilot, will the Rajasthan Desert Storm swallow Congress's chances in the assembly polls?
We open this up to our panel. I want to go across to a gentleman who's also faced troubles of his own within the Congress party. T.S. Singh Dio is a Chhattisgarh cabinet minister and a senior Congress leader. Thank you very much, Mr. Dio, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First of all, I want to know from you your initial thoughts about what's going on with Sachin Pilot, because the Congress High Command has made it very clear to him that he can't go on this protest, and yet he did. And I believe there might be consequences for any congressman or woman who intends to, undertake this kind of a protest. Whether that's disciplinary action or more. First, I want to know of what you thought of what Sachin Pilot ended up doing today, despite the High Command warning him not to do so.
Discipline has to be there. There are no two things about that. And the more you compromise on that, the more difficult it sometimes becomes. But then it should not be a one-off thing. This sense of discipline and the imposition of discipline should be a continuum. As far as this particular issue is concerned, I really don't know much about it. We have been hearing in the media that Sachin Pilot is going to sit on a fast for some time, for a day. And last night, late last night, I believe there was a directive from the party in charge that he should not sit on the fast. It will be seen as anti-party, something against the government.
Okay.
And also that the in charge, Rajasthan AICC in charge is in touch with Sachin Pilot, and that Sachin is an asset for the party, is a big asset for the party. So that sort of sends a message that there needs to be restraint, and I don't know what stand eventually the party will take as far as disciplining is concerned.
But do you believe, Mr. Deo, that this episode is in a sense symbolic of the fact that there are individual leaders in the Congress party, whether it is Mr. Pilot or yourself, whose ambitions, whose aspirations the party is not able to accommodate, or it's just simply unwilling to change, it's happy with the existing status quo, and therefore people like Mr. Pilot and yourself are left with no other option but to resort to measures like this?
It is not only just us. Frankly, there is no party that I know of which doesn't have some sort of differences between leaders or let us say members of the party. Not one party. You start from Bengal and you can go to Odisha, you can go to Jharkhand, you can go to Bihar, you can go to Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, you can go down south to the AIDMK episode, you can come up to Maharashtra with the Shiv Sena, you can see Madhya Pradesh with Jyotiraditya Scindia leaving the party. So there is no single party which is not afflicted by this sort of a situation. It is very tough to manage, extremely tough to manage individuals of some presence in their various fields of political activity, and that is what parties try to do.
All right. One final word
result.
from you, Mr. Deo. Whether it's in Mr. Pilot's case or in your case, we're given to understand that certain assurances were given to you by the leadership, and obviously those assurances have not been kept. So is it that the Congress leadership does not want to keep its end of the bargain, or it's just happy with the existing status quo? And what may that mean for people like you and Mr. Pilot, who I don't think it's a crime to have ambition in a political party?
Ambitions, aspirations, they will be there in every field of life, every walk of life, whether it is journalism, whether it is the TV channel that you represent, whether it is a business company, whether it is a professionally managed business company. There is no walk of life where there would not be aspirations. And it is extremely, I mean, I think it is very healthy to have aspirations, that is fine.
Okay.
The matter is about disciplining. You talked about what had been decided or what had been talked about. I am not really free to mention that. Whatever transpires between closed doors, one has to maintain its dignity. Nobody has from the party spoken about it openly, so I am not in a position to speak about that. But this was in the media. It was fairly widely talked about throughout the media, throughout the country. So they do develop situations where things become very awkward for people like Sachin and me. It becomes very awkward to then face up to that situation where people are asking you day in and day out, what is going to happen, when is it going to happen. I said, nothing like this that I know of. No, the media has reported this, it is coming in every channel. So it becomes a very, very difficult situation for us as individuals to manage.
Okay, T.S. Singh Deo, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see how this story plays out both in Rajasthan as well as your home state of Chhattisgarh. Here in our studios, Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP, Vivek Bansal of the Congress is joining us, and Sandeep Shrivastava, senior journalist also on the broadcast. Shehzad, So the question that's being asked is, will Sachin Pilot, part ways from the Congress, form his own regional outfit, or will he join hands with the BJP? And Rajasthan is peculiar. There have only been two major parties there. The smaller parties have remained exactly that. They've remained small. But the question is, if he hops over to your side, how will you fit him in? You have so many claimants and contestants in your camp itself.
This question would only arise if he is quitting the Congress. And the last time I saw CNN News 18 and I caught up on my news, I don't think he has quit the Congress. So I can't answer a hypothetical question. I can't cross a bridge that I haven't got to, and therefore I'd refrain from getting into the speculation over hypothetical situations. But having said that, let me tell you why we need to intervene in this internal matter of the Congress. The fact is that because of this satta ki ladai between these two entities for the last 4.5 years, Rajasthan has been suffering. It's number one in rapes, it's number one in Dalit atrocities, number one in unemployment, 26% unemployment. You've had farmers being betrayed, no loan waiver given to them as was promised by Rahul Gandhi, and this has become a problem, a malaise of the Congress party across states. It's DK versus Siddaramaiah in Karnataka, it's Baghel versus the TSO in Chhattisgarh, you can see Thorat versus Nana Patole in Maharashtra, you're seeing Pilot versus Gehlot. So it is Congress versus Congress, tukde tukde Congress, tutti futti Congress everywhere. And because of this fight for power, lust for power, I need chair, I need power, this kind of situation leads to the people of Rajasthan suffering, and therefore we need good riddance of the Congress party in Rajasthan. That's what we are focused on.
So Vivek Bansal, 2 points. One is that this fight between Pilot and Gehlot is symbolic of how governance in Rajasthan is not being taken seriously. And two, why is it that the Congress party has this problem in every state? DK Shivkumar versus Siddaramaiah, TS Singh Dio versus Bhupesh Baghel, Pilot versus Gehlot. I mean, the list is going on and on.
Well, Mr. Jacob, let me just first answer your first question, that people of Rajasthan, you said that they are suffering on account of this discord between the two tall leaders of Rajasthan. I think the latest schemes which all have been unrolled by Mr. Gehlot, they are speaking for themselves how people are benefited. As far as infighting is concerned, I think that infighting is in every state. You talked about Siddaramaiah and Mr. Shivkumar. I don't see that this is in the open. There may be differences, and as once you were putting forth question to Mr. Singh Deo, that everybody has aspirations and ambitions. You cannot, but they have to be within the parameters of the party hierarchy and party system. So there is no harm in nurturing ambitions. As far as Chhattisgarh is also concerned, did you see at any point of time the differences coming out into the open? As far as Rajasthan is concerned, definitely it's the cause of concern that we all, and I think the party high command is seized with the problem. So, and time and again, let me just complete it, Mr. Jacob. Time and again, it is erupting. And definitely, as you say, people are definitely not suffering. Governance is not suffering.
Sir, in 2018, right after the election result, it flared up. It took your party days to decide on a chief ministerial candidate. In 2020, we all know this entire sort of fracas around Sachin. Sir, 1 second. Give me 10 seconds. We saw this entire fracas around Sachin Pilot camped out with his MLAs for a month. This was in 2020. And in 2022, we saw the entire fracas around how Ashok Gehlot refused to, stand in as the candidate for the Congress national president, and instead he created this sort of internal rebellion where 90 of his MLAs sort of revolted against the decision to send him to as part of the High Command. So we've seen this repeatedly flare up, and the High Command has not done anything about it, allowed it to fester. But Sanjeev Srivastava, I want to ask a larger question, and I think this is what should worry the Congress party. The people who at one point of time were considered closest to Rahul Gandhi, part of his inner circle, from Jyotiraditya Scindia to RPN Singh to Jitin Prasada and now Sachin Pilot, all seem to be, looking at greener pastures elsewhere.
So I think, Zaka, you have summed it up pretty well in your question. It is the High Command's failure. Like Mr. T.S. Singh, they were saying, there is no harm in having ambition and no harm in pursuing one's aspirations. But when the aspirations and ambitions set you in a collision course between two top leaders in a state, then it is up to the central leadership of the party to reconcile those differences and find a solution which was acceptable to all, or crack the whip. Now, unfortunately, the Congress central leadership is in no position to crack the whip. And I also think there is a certain amount of apathy and lack of interest to reconcile the differences even. So they just allow matters to drift and reach a point where they'll erupt like they've erupted today in Jaipur, where Sachin Pilot sat on Anshan. So you said everything. 2020, he went with MLAs to Manesar. 2022, Ashok Gehlot just snooped up to the central leadership, organized his own mini kind of a revolt and refused to go to Delhi. So now it was up to the High Command from September 25th, it is April. So another 6 months have lapsed and they have still done nothing. They just hope and keep wishing that the problems will either solve themselves out or simply go away. So this ostrich kind of mentality, coupled with the fact that writ has really weakened because of the inability of the central leadership to deliver and secure votes or deliver results.
So let me ask Shehzad this, that in Sachin Pilot's one-day fast that he undertook today, the target was not just Ashok Gehlot, the target was also Vasundhara Raje, because his whole premise for going on that fast is that Mr. Gehlot's government is not acting against Vasundhara Raje's alleged misdeeds.
You know, Sachin got an opportunity to make all of these claims before the court of the people, and in 2019 he was deputy CM of this particular government being led by Ashok Gehlot, and he was also in the party organization, and they lost all the seats after winning in 2018. So clearly the people don't buy it. Clearly there is nothing substantive, or else the Congress party would have pursued it. The only issue is that this Vasundhara ji is a bahana and Ashok Gehlot is the asli nishana, and that is quite obvious. And by the way, look, you know, when Mr. Bansal was saying that it's okay for people, these are not ambitions. These are dangerous ambitions at the cost of what is said to be their party interest. Please understand that Ashok Gehlot was being pipped as the national president. In the history of this country's democratic politics, no person has done bagawat and said, I don't want the national presidency, I am going to remain as chief minister.
No, but on this ambitions point, I mean, even in your party's Rajasthan state unit, you have Vasundhara Raje, you clearly can't seem to ignore her. You have Mr. Shekhawat, who thinks he's the chief minister in waiting. You have Mr. Satish Punia, who is at loggerheads with Vasundhara Raje. You have Mr. Kataria, who used to be the former LOP, he's now been packed off as governor. And now you have a new state president who is supposed to be this conciliatory figure. So it's not like there's lack of ambition in the Rajasthan unit of the BJP either.
Absolutely. Every person who comes in political life comes to achieve something for the people of this country and people of the state. But having said that, has Mr. Gajendra Shekhawat ever said something like that some other aspirant is a gaddar, that wo nikamma hai, ki ragadai baki hai? These are the statements. And Mr. Sachin Pilot in return has said that Jadugari se 14 paper leak ho gaya. He has said that Rajasthan has become unsafe for women. He has taken a stand on the treatment given to the Viranganas. So this kind of ambition at the cost of party interest does not happen in BJP, because BJP is a party where every person is a dedicated karyakarta and has a niti, neta and netritva. That is the fundamental difference between BJP and Congress.
Vivek Bansal, I mean, you know, Vivek Bansal, please tell me one example in the BJP of a BJP leader sitting in protest against his own government or her own government. I mean, this is an absolute mockery. And then the state in charge, Mr. Sukhi Randhawa, says disciplinary action will be taken against Mr. Pilot. Mr. Pilot still goes ahead. And so far, we've not heard about any disciplinary action.
Yeah, Mr. Jacob, this is a point of concern. Definitely, we don't. I don't say that this is something very good happening in the party. And then, you know, it tends to spread around. This has to be, you know, how. I do not know what the party thinks about it, but definitely it is a cause of concern, and particularly in a state like Rajasthan, where elections are impending, or where elections are just on the head. In 3-4 months' time, election preparations will start there. So I don't, particularly a responsible leader like Sachin Pilot, why he's you know, going out in the open. This was the time when they should have been planning out the strategy, how to repeat the government, and I can tell you, people are very happy with the government. It's only the leaders which we are seeing the infighting. That's very unfortunate, and this may dampen the temperament, the approach of the people as far as this election is concerned. And
Sanjeev, I'll give you the final word. I just want to take this forward. I mean, for someone who, in his mind, has been slighted at every turn from 2018, where he felt he was the PCC chief, he's the one who took the party to victory. He was denied CM-ship then. Then 2020, this whole attempted coup, it came a cropper. And 2022, we're given to understand that he was made assurances by the High Command that Mr. Gehlot will be moved up, kicked up to Delhi, and he will be made Chief Minister. If he feels that at every turn of the way he has been slighted by the High Command and of course by Mr. Gehlot, then what explains why Sachin Pilot is still continuing in the Congress party in Rajasthan?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think only Sachin Pilot can really answer that. When he walked away with a small group of MLAs to Manesa, it was widely believed that he may actually have some kind of a tie-up with the BJP if the government falls. But Ashok Gehlot managed to keep his flock together and prove his majority on the floor of the House. Since then, even I have had the occasion to speak to Sachin Pilot a few times. And I think that at least in this interim period of since 2020 till now, he was more or less certain that he's not going to leave the Congress party. And he was always hopeful of some kind of a solution which will be thrashed out. And in 2022, September, it almost happened that he was, he or somebody else was about to become the chief minister. Mr. Gehlot was certainly going to Delhi. And then that didn't happen. And since then, again, he has been waiting. So while I think that it may be out of desperation, frustration, just patience running out that he may have sat on a dharna today, or is he really not planning to take the final leap and step out of the Congress, whether to BJP or AAP or his own party? Or is it the final kind of a pressure tactic he has applied?
We'll have to wait and see whether this was a pressure tactic against the High Command or whether he's actually going to break ranks and, either do his own thing or join the BJP or form the AAP or whatever it is. But one thing is clear, in Rajasthan, at least the way the politics of that state has played itself out over the last 3, 4, 5 election cycles, a bulk of the vote share is concentrated between the BJP and the Congress. There is very little room for smaller parties to grow in that state. Whether Sachin Pilot can change that, whether there is space for a regional party out of Rajasthan, we'll wait and see. But that's a wrap. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll catch you again tomorrow night, same time.
Our senior editor Pallavi Ghosh is joining us. Pallavi, can you give us more context on Nirmala's statement that she made about the situation of Muslims in India?
There has also, I think she's also veiled attack, reflecting on many points which are raised by some opposition parties, some write-ups we often see in the Western media, that in India, their minorities are being targeted and that this government doesn't even care about them and the only government believes in polarization. So Nirmala Sitharaman abroad, when she's in America for a part of the G20 meetings, making this point, I think, is also aimed at these critics and also a political message she's trying to give out to the Western world that what you hear about her is absolutely wrong. All the welfare scheme of the government is meant for everyone. It's inclusive in nature, and the Indian government makes no distinction on the basis of caste, creed or religion.
Also, Pallavi, she also highlighted the fact that in Pakistan, where Muslims are not even a minority, even there there is violence against Muslims and they are not safe, and in fact they are safer in India than Pakistan. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I would say that her speech on Pakistan also is again significant because there is a tendency in a part of the Western media to club India with our neighbors, like whether it's Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And we often hear this common refrain: the situation in India is pretty much like it is in Pakistan in terms of the economy and in terms of the freedom or the human rights. Where she's pointing out is the fact that two things: one is in Pakistan, the Muslims over there, the majority population over there, are not getting the benefits of governance. There's an economic downturn. People don't have jobs. Basic daily necessities are not available to them. That's one. And the second is that a minority over there, the Hindus, they too are being targeted. So the human rights violation takes place in countries like Pakistan, not in India, where every government scheme does not get differentiated on the basis of religion or caste. It's actually meant for everyone. And the Indian government, the Prime Minister himself, according to Nirmala Sitharaman, stresses on inclusive growth.
We have TMC's Majid Memon joining us. Sir, good morning. So, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has slammed the Western media for its perception and has also highlighted the fact that Muslims in India are safer than Pakistan, in fact. What are your views on this?
Well, I welcome our finance minister's concern about Indian Muslims, which she has reflected by her statements in US. But let me correct her that, well, if you want to have an honest test of how Muslims are being treated in India, they should not be compared with what is happening in Pakistan. Pakistan is a country of turmoil. Pakistan is not a democracy to which Indian lifestyle or Indian way of growth is to be compared. So we must ignore Pakistan. Let us have an independent assessment of Indian Muslims. I appreciate that, well, Muslims are growing in number, Muslims are growing in their business as well. But then I think some journalists should have asked a question to her when someone was concerned about 200 million Muslims in India, that how is it that her party does not give Muslim representation in Lok Sabha, in the highest parliament, highest lawmaking body? And how is it that you are ignoring Muslims? You don't have a single Muslim representation. So Muslim empowerment in the current regime of which he is a minister is indeed lacking. You must include Muslims, give them opportunities to serve the nation. They are very much as much patriotic as you are or anybody else is. And therefore, Muslims don't have to simply criticize the government for sake of criticism.
Shehzad, so Majid Memon has welcomed Nirmala Sitharaman's remark that Muslims in India are safer, but he has also said that she shouldn't have compared Muslims in India with that of Pakistan, and also he has said that BJP does not give enough Muslim representation in Lok Sabha. What would you like to say on this?
You know, first of all, there is an ecosystem that tries to create a narrative of Islamophobia that prevails in this country, which doesn't really exist. If you see any of the flagship schemes of the Prime Minister, Awas Yojana, Kisan Yojana, Mudra Yojana, or any other Yojana, you will find that minorities have a share of 30 to 35%. Is that discrimination? When a toilet is built and 11 crore toilets have been built, it has been built